Hola, everybody. Você como está?
Estou bem, e você?
Very good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this first interview for the second day of this Star East 2024. And today I have with me meu amigo Julio de Lima. How are you, amigo?
Ah,
Você como está?
eu estou bem, eu estou bem.
Muito bom, muito bem.
Muito
Very
obrigado, eu
good.
estou bem, eu estou bem.
Good to hear.
I'm good, I'm good. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a great adventure to talk to you.
Mhm.
I am super happy that you managed to get here to meet with us, share some stories, adventures with the audience. I know that today you were not presenting anymore. You were
No, today no.
Star East off for Julio, and but you were presenting yesterday. I have some questions about what were your whereabouts. But before we get into the game,
Mhm.
would you mind sharing with the audience, for the ones that dare not to know, who is Julio de Lima?
Yeah, sure.
Please.
So I started to work in software testing back in 2009.
Mhm.
Before that, I used to be a developer, developing for web.
What did you
And
develop then?
yeah, I was working with PHP.
Oh, the good days.
Have you worked with that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
ASP3 and PHP, I remember those days. Oh, yeah.
That's great. That's great. And then I also developed something Genexus.
Ooh.
Have you heard
Wow.
about it?
Yeah, with the Uruguay people?
Uruguay, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And then in 2009, I saw a opportunity to start working software testing
Mm-hmm.
and be able to get more, how do I say, value and visibility in the company, because there was not how do I say, a formal process of software testing there at that time. And then I had the opportunity to literally establish the process, so I found my way to raise my salary, to raise my visibility, and also to learn something that is pretty new. That was my start on software testing, you know. Um,
That's a very good start. Well, and first of all, you come from Brazil.
yeah, from Brazil, exactly.
How did you end up in Uruguay?
No, I didn't. I
A
haven't.
remote
I haven't been
collaboration,
there, but in Brazil, there were, how to say,
a
a
branch.
moment. No, a moment where Genexus started to become famous there.
Oh, good
Yeah,
for them.
yeah, and I mean, Genexus is a tool that make things more productive, right? And then the company that I used to work for, they bought the licenses and started to work on this world.
Mm,
Yeah, this
small
is
world.
yeah, yeah.
So sorry, and then you started to implement the testing services.
Yes, exactly. So I started to implement that, and then how they say, I got very success on that, and then I saw that that is exactly what I would like to do for life.
Cool.
Then I become a consultant, started to share content on the internet in 2013, and yeah, that was my start on the software testing field.
11 years in the public eye,
Yeah,
sharing the knowledge and helping people.
exactly.
Because that's another big thing that you do, right?
Hmm.
You build communities, help them, share the knowledge. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So as soon as I started to speak in conferences, I found a very, how to say, uh, a lot of energy, with the community. And then I found myself in that place, and I said, I would like to do this more. And then I started to write posts, and then I started to give workshops and be more active in some conferences. And then I think that it's a kind of, how to say, fluent movement. You start by sharing things, and a certain moment in your life, you be yourself as see yourself as a entrepreneur, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to help people to grow up their careers by selling some part of this material. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And yeah, as soon as I started to do this, I started to be more close to the people and to help them in a, how they say, different manner, right? Understanding their problems and helping them to face them and to handle them. Yeah.
Wow. And just by trying to help, you are being able to reach so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, almost all Brazil. You are like
Mm-hmm.
Brazil-wide famous, and even here, worldwide famous. I love so many of the messages that you share and how you help the people. Even if, yeah, at times you can sell some of the things. It's part of it. We gotta eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the joy of seeing like these people growing and
Yeah.
um, understanding things. And based from that experience, that you also kind of had that rocky path at the beginning, I
Yeah.
believe, and
Exactly.
to help others to not to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And all those adventures brought you to the Star conferences, because it's not the first one that we have the pleasure to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And what made you kind of like say like conference? There's where I'm gonna go next.
So, talking specifically about the Star conferences,
Well, I'm sure this was not your first conference.
no, it's not.
How it all started?
So it started back in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So, so
20
yeah,
pandemic, just when the pandemic was about to start.
yeah,
Oh wow.
exactly. I was, how they say, it was going to be the first time that I was going in a Star conference. Do you know?
No, but before other conferences,
Oh
your
yeah.
first conference, how did you decide?
Oh,
Like,
okay, okay, okay.
I'm gonna go start a
It's back in 2013. You know, was
cool.
my first conference, and I was there. So I had this desire to be part of a conference, to be a
Mm-hmm.
speaker, and then my mentor said, "Hey, there is a conference, and if you want, I can refer you, and you will speak there." And I said, for sure I want, because as I said, I always want to share content, but I had no the I haven't the structure to, to produce some material and to have someone that is already has already experience on it to check and help me giving feedback. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So once I found it and I had the opportunity, I was there. And at that time I was sharing stuff related to how to use cloud mobile testing,
Oh wow.
browser stack to be more precise.
Oh wow. Uh yeah, on those days that was kind of in diapers, but starting to blow it
Yeah.
all. I remember. So you were like spearheading into those type of things. It's great that you from the very beginning started to say like, yeah, I want to go out, I want to share, and
Hmm.
on some cutting edge technologies and solutions.
Hmm.
You mentioned you had a mentor who pushed you.
Yeah.
How do you find a mentor? How do you got to that point? Because I think mentors are important. You kind of are
Yeah.
in a virtual way mentor for lots of people and
Hmm.
communities, but how you found yours, and how did that help you?
Yeah. Do you remember 2009
Mm-hmm.
was my first, how to say, initiative related to testing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to travel from my city in the countryside of São Paulo to another city in the countryside of other state, like 500 kilometers,
Mm-hmm.
And then I to do it to how they say, to attend a training,
Mm-hmm.
and this training was given by a guy called Cristiano Caetano.
Cristiano Caetano.
Yeah. Nowadays he lives in England.
Uh-huh. Cool.
He created a tool. I don't know if you have heard about it. The first name of the tool was
Canoa.
Canoa Test Management,
Uh-huh.
and then he sold Canoa to Adaptavist,
Mm-hmm.
and it became Test Manager Test TM4J,
Uh-huh.
and then they was sold to Smart Bear, and now it's called Zephyr Scale.
Ah.
Cristiano, it's how they say, was the guy that was facilitating that training back in 2009, and then I fall in love with the way that he explains software testing, and then we started to exchange emails. And I brought him to the company I used to work for. He was a consultant there. And then in 2013, he invited me to work with him.
Cool. Took you under his wing, and it's funny when you say you can tell the times just exchanging emails was not WhatsApps or
Exactly.
anything like. I don't even think there was WhatsApp already in those days.
No,
Um,
definitely not. Was
Barely
mails, yeah.
Messenger or something like that, but Microsoft Messenger. But the cool element as well that you were telling that he pulled you, he kind of guided you,
Yeah.
and even like, hey, come and work with me so that you can grow more.
Hmm.
I think that he was your mentor, your boss,
Yeah.
coworker, a friend. I'm
A
guessing because
friend, yeah, for sure.
you start establish a connection. It's great to have those figures in one's life, like someone like, hey, I'm gonna teach you, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna push you.
Hmm.
Go to
Hmm.
that conference and start your public speaking or
Yeah.
uh, um, helping people.
Yeah.
How did you feel on your first public speaking endeavor?
So since the very beginning of my life, I kind of public speak.
How's that?
Yeah, let me explain more details. The church that I go since I was a kid has a moment during the celebration, where the kids take a verse of the Bible and go in front of everyone,
Mm.
and like I am the verse one, you are the verse two, verse three, and etc. They do a line and
Hmm.
they start to speak.
Yeah.
This is one module, and the other module is that how they say, you memorize
Memorize.
the whole chapter of the Bible, and then you speak just by mind in front of everyone, and I always did it when I was a kid.
Hmm.
So when I had this opportunity, it was not very difficult to go out in front of others to speak, but was I was like nervous because this was how they say, a topic that was really, how they say, futuristic at that time. Like you don't need to buy a mobile app, a mobile phone. You can just use the cloud. So it was new for me, you know. And I was speaking in front of other three people that I admire a lot, that were people that were referenced in the software testing field in Brazil. So speak was good for me, but to speak in front of those people was like crazy,
You didn't want it to disappoint them or look bad in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. Have you felt that?
Uh, I totally. We met here at the Star Conference. Mark Tomlinson,
Mm-hmm.
the founder, one of the founders of Perfights, and we're good friends. He's kind of like a mentor figure for me because he helped me and enabled me in many of the things I do nowadays. And I was presenting my tutorial. Now, oh, good, yeah, the tutorial performance, this performance, that, and I see him walking out there and just looking at what I'm looking. I'm like, it's interesting, yeah. But I
Yeah,
was like,
man.
oh, there's Mark. But he's a good friend. I consider him almost a brother now, and it's like, uh, but
I hear you.
blue screen, like, yeah. It's funny that
Yeah.
you say that because I never experienced it at that level,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, it's not the first tutorial, the first talk that I do in
Yeah,
front of
man.
people, and just him watching, I was like, "Ay, I forgot. Ay, 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 ay." It was funny. So it's cool that you had an early exposition to those type of situations because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it can be very, very shaking.
Yeah.
And another element that I remember um, from what you were saying, right? That was like the first conference, cutting edge technology. It's like no, it's not like AI. Probably like crypto 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the blockchain and NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't, at least not NFTs. Crypto and blockchain, yes, is still around. But you were presenting and talking about some of those things, and you were like, it's a new thing. Let's hope it sticks. And
Mm-hmm.
meh. But today, in these star conferences, um, you mentioned like in the pandemic, you started to open your paths towards star conferences. How was that?
was a big accomplishment for me.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm keeping going back to 2009 because it was very remarkable in
Everything
my
started
life.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I had a friend, a colleague on the work, and I was trying to watch a video in English. At that time, I didn't know anything about English. And then he said, "What you're watching?" And I said, I'm trying to understand this topic here, but it's difficult." And he said, "Yeah, you need to study English." I said, "I will, and one day I will speak in this conference." And then he said, "Oh, your dream so high." And then I was watching a Star Conference video, a person,
2009.
yeah,
Cool.
2009. And then I was like, I want to speak there one day. And I submitted some papers for the cover papers during some 2 3 years, and finally I got approved in
Oh
2000
no.
to 2020, and then the
No.
pandemic started. I was almost
Oh.
buying something. The company has, how they say, sponsored all the tickets for travel and etc. And then the pandemic arrived, and then I had to speak
The virtual.
in the virtual. But was a very good experience. The people at the Star conference kind of embraced me. They make me feel at home. I was at home at that
You
point
were
specifically.
pretty much, yeah, that's a good point.
But you got me right. So yeah, that
It's
that was my starting.
I think that for me as well, first time I ever presented in a Star conference was online virtually. 2020, I think it was in the virtual
Yeah.
one
Mhm.
with the amigo Noel Worst. I not sure how he's watching. I think he was supposed to be around here.
Mm.
I'll look for him. And he's like, "Hey, do you mind tagging up for a presentation?" I'm like, "Sure, anytime." And we did something with luchadores themed and
Mm.
um, went well. And for the next virtual one, they were like, "Hey, do you want to try a keynote, virtual keynote? Meh, it doesn't matter." And
Oh,
I'm like,
that's good,
"Sure."
man.
Um, but it was like an easy transition. Like I started laying the bicycle with the little wheels, or
Hmm.
I think it probably was similar to you, like little by little getting
Yeah.
to a bigger level.
Hmm.
And then I think it's when we met, right, in the first in person after the pandemic that
Yeah,
happened
last
right here,
year. Yeah,
two
right
years.
here. No, in the past year, 2023.
No,
Yeah, it was.
2022. That's when we met Fede here as well, Federico Toledo.
Yeah, but in the first time we were going to Met, but then I
We
was,
just talked from afar, and it
yeah,
was until Star West 2022. I
exactly.
even brought you that T-shirt and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and um, but it was cool that we came almost at the same uh, levels and times,
Mhm.
even years.
Mhm.
And now you're a seasoned star presenter here. You come often. I'm super happy to see you here. What did you talk about this time?
Um, so I talked about how to make test automation more reliable.
Mm,
And when I talk about it, people generally start to think about
flaky
flakiness,
test.
right? And remove flakiness from the test. But I was talking about the other part, the application side,
Mm,
because you can build the better test script that you have, but if the application is unstable, or you don't have counter about the application or the APIs and etc., it will be unreliable as well. Do you know?
mm-hmm.
So I talked about how to use a tool called Mountbank.
Mountebank.
Mountbank. It's a open source tool. You can install by typing npm install -g Mountbank.
Hmm.
It's installed on your machine, and it's how to say simulate virtualization service.
Uh-huh.
So you install Mountbank, you run a MB, it will be up. Then you can create your imposters. The
Mm.
imposters are the simulation for the services that the application may have. Yeah.
Interesting. And what advantages bring this? I kind of figure out, but with this virtualization, so the service
Mm-hmm.
virtualization, because yeah, some people in the audience might be like, and what
Mm-hmm.
with that?
Yeah. So the main advantage is that if you rely on how to say API from another group,
Mm-hmm.
it may not be up when you are running your tests. It may not be. It may change without letting you know.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have the proper data that you need to test the application under test. So you have an application under test, and you have these other services that are dependencies. You are testing this one.
Mm-hmm.
So to create a simulator to provide the information that you need here will make this application faster and you have a more controlled environment. That's the main advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So you can create the simulators, or you can how to say peer with with the developers or DevOps people to create the simulators and then be able to test your application faster and more and with more reliability.
Hmm. Yeah, because you don't have external dependencies. You kind
Exactly.
of cut out some of those, and it's especially interesting when you don't have control over some of those. And I know a few that they even say like, "Hey, I'm going to provide you this API service. Don't you dare to overload it
Yeah, exactly.
and overuse it.
Hmm.
You may even burn data that they won't give you test data or things like that. It can be um, very interesting or make things difficult, right?
Hmm.
When you are trying to finish your test cycles, and yeah, we're checking this. What was the in when you were presenting the talk? Did you get any interesting questions after the talk from the audience?
Yeah, there was a guy there in front of me.
Uh
He
huh.
was hitting me with many important questions, which
Mm-hmm.
was which was very important. So I think that the main question that he asked me was that how he can um, literally implement this on the environment that he has now. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a there's a gap between the presentation that you do and the real life that the people that come to watch you implement, right? And in his case specifically, he has a team that how to say it's not very connected.
Mm-hmm.
So
Decoupled.
yeah, and he was asking if he need to deal with it by himself, or if this should be a responsibility of the team, you know and it's completely a responsibility of the team.
Mm-hmm.
you know um, you as a QA, as a tester, can go there and start building something,
Mm-hmm.
but as soon as you build the foundations, the team should help, because the simulators will not only help you as a tester but also help the developer that is developing something, and he also doesn't have control of some of these external services, so they also can use the simulators. So if you treat this as a how to say as a piece of code that is owned from by the team, the whole team can be can how to say have the benefits of having these simulators.
It's funny because some organizations they consider kind of like a QA. It's the responsible for quality, even as
Mm-hmm.
it's quality assurance. But I believe that the whole team, the whole organization should own some of these things. As you say, you should not be dividing and like
Yeah, exactly.
because then you have these problems with the developers. Like, yep, I finished my software. Does it run well? I don't know. I'm throwing it over. That's this QS problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And if the whole team cares, even the PM, again the developer. Nothing against the developers. I don't support that set of fun jokes of developers versus testers, blah blah blah. I don't think that's a good perspective. So not only the developers, more members of the team, the scrum master, the product owner, even the graphic designer of the team, the front end UI people. I think everyone should be responsible for all the quality decisions, processes. I mean, QA can be a guide, but in the end, everybody has to follow.
Yeah.
It's like a shepherd pulling everyone. I love that perspective. I love that. That was one of the best questions because, yeah, we are the test center of excellence. We're far there away, blah. Now, what would be to do the final recommendation? What would be a good recommendation based on what you just described from your talk, what we just talked, that you would give back to the audience that will make a difference to their tester's life
Okay.
or human being life? I don't know. You can
Yeah.
go as far as you want.
Good. So yeah, I will talk. I will talk. Looking
Hmm.
here. So remember, nowadays, you guys are working. You are not working in silos anymore. Okay. So you guys are working on teams, and these teams are agile teams generally. So you need to enjoy working together. Yesterday during the panel that I was part of as a panelist, we talk a lot about empathy. So use empathy to understand the word of the developers in your side, the PMs, the UX developer, the UI designs, to understand what they need, and try to use this to influence on how they can use quality to improve and to make their life better. If you do this, you will build a chain of people that will admire quality, admire testing, instead of create barriers between each other. So think about empathy, think about working together, think about how your work can influence the life of the others, and then you will be able to build great things. This is the advice that I would give to you guys.
Incredible recommendation, and at the same time, so simple. Bring down the barriers, empathy, talk to your teams, collaborate, truly collaborate. Uh, yeah, it's something that many teams are like throwing away and just not paying attention. Awesome recommendation, amigo. And everybody watching, I hope that you took notes, paid a lot of attention. This is streamed and you can review it. To close, amigo, where can the people follow up with you or send you some questions? They may have some other questions related to the testing processes or many other questions. Where can they find you?
They can find me on YouTube,
Hmm.
um,
Julio de Lima.
Julio de Lima,
Good.
or Instagram. And on Instagram, will be at Julio de Limas
With an S
Insta,
at the end.
with the S at the end. Julio de Limas Insta. And I answer questions from my followers every single day. So
Good.
they can click on my stories, find a question box, send me the
Oh,
question. Could be in Spanish, in English, in Portuguese,
oh,
no
muy
matter.
bien.
Yeah,
También español.
Español as well.
Okay, excelente. Very well, amigo. It's a pleasure as always. I love to have you here on the interviews. I gonna let you know whenever I'm back,
Do
Brazil, Sao
that,
Paulo,
please.
some of those areas. Uh, I'm there, here and there. But well, there you have it. The awesome amigo Julio de Lima. Lima or Limas?
Lima.
Lima.
The
Because
S is
why
because
Instagram this?
I tried Julio de Lima and someone
Someone else
took
take
it.
it.
Yeah,
Oh, other Julio, come on.
come on, man.
um, thank you, my amigo. It has been a pleasure, and I hope to have you back soon.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to see you every time that you came here, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's always awesome. And there you have it. The amigo Julio de Lima coming here to visit us and share a little bit of his knowledge. Contact him, register, subscribe, activate the bell on his YouTube channel, leave a comment, subscribe the bell, and like
And comment.
and comments.
I
Very
love comments.
important. And well, this is the first interview of the day. Stay tuned because I think in a few minutes we are going to start our walking tour through the expo center so that you get to know and hear what the exhibitors have to say, have they have to share, show, and tell about us. Tune you up in a moment. For now, Leandro, Señor Performo out, Julio out, Adios and have a good one. Take care, everybody.
Tchau, pessoal.
Besos.